Hello, and welcome to The Muppets, the Sitcom, the podcast, presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we revisit The Muppets' grand return to television in the 2015 series The Muppets and see how it holds up 5 years later. You can follow along with the series with us by revisiting The Muppets, which is now streaming on Disney+. I am Ryan Roe, your host for today's show, and our special guest today is...
Hi, I'm Matthew Soberman. I'm the Muppets, the sitcom, the podcast, the guest star.
You are, yes. And you are a contributor to Tough Pigs.
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. It's just me and you. So today we are talking about the 10th episode of the series. This is Single All the Way, which aired on ABC on December 8th, 2015. In this episode, Kermit struggles to make the big Christmas show happen, Yolanda cheats at the Secret Santa exchange, and Sam experiments with mistletoe. So there are several things happening in this episode, but as we do, before we get into each storyline, let me ask you, what do you remember about your take on the series when it first started? This episode specifically, what did you think of it when it first aired?
I was lucky because I wrote the review for this on Tough Pigs 5 years ago.
So you have a living document of...
Yes, I do have a document of exactly how I felt.
Telling you, yes.
And at the time, I felt that this was the reason why I thought this sitcom worked. It showed to me that this was a different take on the characters, but that doesn't make it bad.
Okay.
That sometimes reinterpreting the Muppets can be a good thing.
Yes, that's my general take on new Muppet productions.
But yeah, Single All the Way specifically, I just remember like Miss Piggy's growth. Considering, how Miss Piggy is generally used as this stock character where she's the diva and, she connives to get her way.
Yeah.
And whereas in this episode, she kind of realizes, wait, did I get it wrong? Should I have been more humble and tried to make it work with Kermit?
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think, looking back at the whole series 5 years later, it is more clear to me that the writers knew that there was something wrong with Piggy from the beginning. So it's interesting to see them sort of fix that as they go. So, then we can sort of get into the storylines here. Let's start with the part where Fozzie is going through a breakup.
Yep.
So Kermit comes into the studio an hour before their live Christmas show. I guess they're actually going live on the air this time, which I don't know if we've ever gotten any indications that Up Late is usually a live show, but...
A late night show that goes live in a non-election cycle?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't really happen. Although, I don't know if you remember, or I know you're a lot younger than I am, but when Jimmy Kimmel's show first started, it was live every night for like the first year or so.
Oh, it was?
Okay. Until he realized that wasn't practical, so it would...
Yeah, I think around that time I was starting to get into late night, but I was watching more Letterman and Leno.
Sure, yeah.
And to be fair, now I mostly at that time slot I watch Colbert. So
that's a good choice. Yeah, but so not very practical to do a live late night show as the Kermit and the gang will discover. But so he comes in and they're decorating for the Christmas episode, and Animal is eating the tinsel.
Yep.
Which
Christmas in my belly.
Yeah. I know Animal eats he eats his drums in the Muppet movie, but this is one of those moments that feels sort of like a little bit of a bleed from the character of Animal to the character of Cookie Monster to me.
Yeah, but it's not unprecedented. I mean, the Great Muppet Caper starts with Animal eating the title card.
That's true. That is not actually food. So I guess Animal, if he gets hungry enough, he'll eat anything.
Though I will say, because I was not on the first episode of the Great Muppet Caper season of Moving Right Along, his chewing in that moment sounds exactly like Cookie Monster.
Right. Yeah, I think that's maybe where some of that kind of
Frank
thing
Oz got
comes
the
from.
om nom nom in.
Yes, yes. So Kermit tells us in a Talking Head interview that the Christmas show is a challenge, but it's also fun because he gets to do it with all his friends. This is a noticeable change from the beleaguered Kermit that we've been seeing, or that we did see at the start of this series, where he's actually having a good time putting on a show.
Yeah. Now, I know there was the head writer change halfway through the show. Do we know exactly what episode that started with?
I don't think it had happened yet. I think it was when they went on hiatus, which was right after this
Okay,
episode.
so it was after this episode.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I probably should have fact-checked that before we started recording, but I think that's how it went, yeah.
Luckily, this is the internet, and Muppet Wiki is always available.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, while you're looking that up, I will say I think we started to see more of the upbeat Kermit last week with Going Gonzo, where he was very encouraging to Gonzo doing his stunt, and then he was so happy when Gonzo actually successfully did his stunt. So they're sort of continuing that arc for Kermit being in a good mood, which is nice. Did you find anything?
It was November 4th. They announced that Bob Cushel had stepped down and that Kristen Newman was replacing him as showrunner.
Okay, so probably by the time the episodes were actually written and produced,
after the 10th episode. So yes, this was the last episode under the Cushel run
regime. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we sort of start to see. We sort of start to see where the merging was happening. You start to see the more optimistic tone of the show.
Right, yeah, and I think that's Kermit's change in mood is kind of points to a lot of that, yeah. So we see Kermit in the studio. He's watching Fozzie dressed as Santa, supposed to be entertaining some kids, but Fozzie is just crying because, as Kermit learns from Scooter, Becky has just broken up with Fozzie. It's very sad. Scooter can't believe...
And Santa is bawling his eyes out.
Yes, this is not a very jolly Santa for these kids.
Not a very jolly Fozzie, which really scares me. I've seen Fozzie sad before, but this this worries me.
No, you're right. Like, he's not just down like on the Muppet Show where he needs a guest star to sing him a song to cheer him up. He's actually sort of sobbing.
Like this is Fozzie in an existential crisis.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he really liked Becky. We've seen that.
Yeah.
Scooter can't believe that Becky broke up with Fozzie, and yet Scooter's mom is still dating Ken. He says, "Cut your fingernails, Ken. You're not a Spanish guitar player." And I'm not sure I get that joke. Is it like he would use his nails to pick the strings of the Spanish guitar because it has a lot of strings?
Luckily, there are enough jokes that if I don't get all of them, I'm sure I'll get the next one.
Yeah, well, I think that's what
you could maybe use the fingers as picks.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, like that. That's...
Yeah, there's like
that's the only interpretation of the joke that makes sense.
Like a 12-string guitar, so he's using all of his fingernails. I don't know. If anyone wants to suggest another interpretation of that joke, please let us know. So Kermit asks Fozzie what happened. He says he and Becky were talking about whose parents to spend Christmas with, and Fozzie suggested Jerry Seinfeld's parents. So I looked it up just for the record. Jerry Seinfeld's parents had both passed away when this episode was taped.
Wow, Fozzie is really in a dark place.
Well, Fozzie does say that he was joking. Like he didn't really think that they could or should spend Christmas with Jerry Seinfeld's parents, but it is interesting that the writers apparently didn't Google that, or just didn't care, or just thought it didn't matter, but
it was just a throwaway joke.
Yeah, I mean, they could have swapped in any other comedian's name, but that's... Jerry Seinfeld seems like...
But suddenly, now that I know that, Becky's response may not be so unwarranted.
Maybe Becky knew, and that's why she was... So...
Like, this bear is heading down a dark path that I cannot follow.
Right, because her response is that Fozzie can't take anything seriously. And we have seen before on the show that Fozzie's comedy caused some friction in their relationship when he used, he made jokes about her in his stand-up. So this is kind of continuing with that. Kermit asks Piggy if she will talk to Fozzie, and she agrees to do that. This is something we don't see very often because there is a scene where Eric Jacobson is playing two characters who are talking to each other. Eric Jacobson is talking to himself.
Yeah. That's got to be real hard. That is like Kermit and Rolf singing "I hope that something better comes along."
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of feels like something like on the Muppet Show you almost never saw that, or on other TV series. It almost feels like the kind of thing where they would only do it in a movie where they have more time, maybe, or
and something where you can get away with multiple, shot,
right? Yeah, switching back and
in
forth. Yeah, switching puppeteers back and forth. But yeah, I guess or maybe the writers were just not thinking about that. But I like to think that just given all the puppetry tricks and everything we've seen, I like to think that they just sort of went, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's just make it happen. It's worth it. So,
plus, it just makes sense for the storyline.
Yeah, it does, because Piggy has a perspective on this. Yeah. She tells Fozzie the secret to feeling better is stuff. Yes.
Let's see what he's won.
Yeah, she has this whole closet full of these indulgent gift items. Does she say where she got this stuff? I may have missed that.
I watched the episode last night, and I don't remember.
Okay, I don't think she does.
Whatever it is, it's not important.
No, but it includes a neck massager made by a company called Dream Rub. And then Uncle Dudley gives a little speech where it sounds like a commercial for Dream Rub. Yep. So I wondered if this was product placement, but I Googled Dream Rub, and I don't think there is.
Yeah, I can't see them using an actual brand there.
No, I guess not. So they made it up, but it's a very believable brand name. So Fozzie is still missing Becky. Piggy says he should let Becky know that he's willing to work on things with her. Fozzie repeatedly during this conversation brings up Piggy and Kermit's breakup, which Piggy is not thrilled to hear about.
Worms everywhere.
Right. So Deadly is listening in on the whole thing and has this running gag.
Deadly is fabulous in this scene, right from the beginning, where it's like, Fozzie's telling his story, and Deadly says, women. And then he just turns around and looks at Miss Piggy, realizes what he's just said, and goes, men.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to write that down. But that is really funny. And yeah, Deadly just elevates every scene he's in on this series. Yep. And I've commented on this before, but the puppetry, which is like Uncle Deadly has this scary dragon face, and then but his face, like the puppet seems really flexible, and the things that Matt Vogel can do just by kind of opening his mouth a little bit, or sort of sliding the top part of his mouth open a little bit. Yeah, it's really great.
Just a great character.
Yeah. So after this conversation with Fozzie, Piggy realizes that she didn't fight for Kermit when they broke up, and now she is all alone going into the holidays. This is where Dudley offers her cheese.
Yep.
And she
so much cheese.
Yes.
So much cheese.
So the Kermit and Piggy breakup was such a big deal leading up to the show premiering. So I like that the writers are showing that this does still have consequences for them. It wasn't just something that they kind of threw together so that Kermit could be dating another character or whatever.
Yeah, there wasn't like a manufactured drama.
No, yeah, they're really sort of paying it off and showing how it affects them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most mature take on the Kermit-Piggy relationship that's ever been done.
And that's what I wrote 5 years ago, way back in 2015.
Yeah.
I said, and I will write it because I think...
Oh, this is from your original review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, I think this may be the most adult episode of the Muppets yet. Not adult as in talking about narcotics and naughty bits, but rather as in a mature examination of relationships.
Yeah, I guess that's the
And
word, mature.
it shows that, and that's why I love this series, because I love the Muppets. I wouldn't be writing for Tough Pigs or doing these podcasts if I
I do
didn't
know
love
you
these
love the
characters.
Muppets.
But at the same time, they no not a lot of people really play around with the characters. We don't get to see different angles.
Right.
It's sort of we take these characters, we put them on an adventure. What will that adventure be? And we know how it's all going to wind up in the end.
Yeah.
But with this show, suddenly you can start to play around with these little facets that may get overlooked while still retaining the heart of the characters. Like, at no point do I think Miss Piggy, even though she's going through these phases, is any less Miss Piggy than she was on the Muppet Show. It's just a different side to her. They took these characters and made them
Yeah.
complex,
I
which I
think
enjoyed.
Yeah, and it does sort of, I think, take them a little while to figure out the best way to do that, because
Yeah.
I think Piggy is not really likable enough at the beginning of the series, but just yeah, I mean, we're seeing it here. They're figuring it out. They're making her more sympathetic and making her more of a
Yeah.
real character.
And that's why I think maybe at the time when they announced it, I wasn't so sold on Kermit and Piggy breaking up, but at the same time, this is a Muppet project. They're going to get back together by the end.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
rather than just some contrived plot point, we're actually seeing them think, really sit down and think about, why did we break up?
yeah.
Is this something I want to go back into? Am I ready to move on, or am I ready to move up and reconsider what our relationship is?
Right, we're seeing Piggy express regrets, but now,
Yeah,
it's too late because Kermit is dating somebody else.
this is true, but
They actually
as,
address that in this episode.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think it's good. And I do, sometimes I wonder if it was a mistake, and I've probably already said that on this podcast, but a mistake to do the whole big like press release thing about Kermit and Piggy broke up, and then people on the internet were all up in arms about it.
and
Whereas,
suddenly, yeah, that sort of turned people off. Like, these aren't going to be the
yeah,
Muppets I know.
yeah, where if they had just made it part of the show without making a huge deal about it, maybe it
I
wouldn't.
know it was like sort of to gain publicity, but I think maybe the move backfired.
A little bit, yeah, because people came into it sort of less willing to give the new show a chance, but
While at the same time, that breakup went worldwide.
it did. Yeah, people are very invested in these characters, but yeah, they're doing interesting things with it, as we're seeing in this episode. So later in the episode, Fozzie shows up in the studio. He's dressed as Santa. He's telling Kermit that he had a good talk with Becky on the phone. They're gonna work it out. But then, with 4 minutes to air, Piggy has told Scooter that she is not gonna do the show because she's stewing in her own loneliness.
Must mean there's still runtime on the episode left.
Yes, exactly. Kermit goes to Piggy's dressing room. She asks a bunch of hypothetical questions about Fozzie and Becky's relationship, about what if they hadn't gotten together, and etc. And it's clear that she's actually talking about her relationship with Kermit. And then Kermit has this little speech where he explains that Piggy's great ability is to make people who are watching her feel like they're not alone. And he says that she was his favorite show long before she was ever on TV, which is a very nice sentiment. That's a nice moment between the two of them.
And that, without saying as much, the subtext you get from Kermit is he's saying, it may not be in the same way, but I still love you.
Yeah, that's true. It's his way of letting her know. Yeah, that's a good point. That he
I have not abandoned you.
Right. Right. He still cares about her. She's still
Yeah.
important to him. Yeah, this is a pig and a frog talking.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing this stuff. I
And
know that.
it's just that maturity that I
Yeah.
felt made this series so unique in the Muppet canon. Like, you don't get this sort of stuff on Muppets Tonight.
No, they. Well, I mean, for one thing, Piggy's barely on Muppets Tonight,
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah, they're not. Although there are some moments on that in the second season, maybe more so, where they get into the Johnny Fiamma and Sal and Johnny Fiamma and his
yeah,
ma relationship. So yeah, they were sort of starting to explore,
but never to this level
but
where
yeah,
it's
not like this. You're right, and where these are characters who the audience has known for 40 years at this point, or almost 40 years. So yeah, yeah,
and we
it's
get to
nice.
hear Big Mean Carl recite some poetry.
Yeah, I think I have that under another of these storylines, but
Oh,
so yeah, I was gonna say that's not to say that the episode is all just sentimentality and breakups and loneliness
no,
and
no,
sad
no.
speeches, because among the other storylines we have Yolanda and the Secret Santa exchange.
Yep, her
This
manufactured
Right.
revenge.
This kicks off when Sweetums comes in to give Yolanda a straightening iron because he is her secret Santa. He shows her that he also got one for himself, which is a funny little visual gag where we see that Sweetums has straightened a patch of his hair on the back
Yep,
of his head.
looks good though.
It does. It looks funny. I guess they just sort of made like a sort of a wig or something that they just stuck on the back of Sweetum's head. I assume they didn't actually take a straightening iron to the Sweetum's puppet.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the case. I can't see them like, well, we're gonna throw out this Sweetums
Right,
puppet.
right. They would have to.
We'll use the straightening iron and then ship them out to Florida so the
Huh.
Disney World cast members can use them.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those Sweetums they've gone through at Muppet Vision and Disney World.
The mind reels
Yeah, because that's been running for like 30 years now.
almost 30 years. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, they must have had to like remake that costume every once in a while. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So Yolanda explains to us in a Talking Head interview that last year she got left out of the Secret Santa exchange. So
Oh
yeah, poor
no!
Yolanda. So this year she volunteered to organize it and she put her own name on every slip of paper. We've seen little hints of Yolanda as sort of a real character on this show before, but this is the first time that she's ever really gotten her own thing to do.
Her own arc. Yeah.
Yeah, she has her own storyline, and it's a lot of fun. Pepe almost figures out what's happening when he finds out that he and Rizzo apparently both have Yolanda's name, but then Pepe's not smart enough to figure it out because he thinks that Rizzo drew Pepe's name and Rizzo is just pretending to have drawn Yolanda's name so as not to
Yep.
give it up. So Pepe's dumb.
Well, he is the smartest chess piece on the chessboard.
The prawn.
The prawn.
Yeah. So later they do realize that everyone drew Yolanda's name. And then everyone realizes that, oh no, they left her out last year. I kind of wonder how they can so quickly come to that conclusion because it's a room full of Muppets in that scene when they figure it out, but somebody is just like, oh, wait a minute, who drew Yolanda's name last year? And nobody raises their hand. But what if it's somebody who's just not in that room at the moment? What if Kermit drew Yolanda's name last year and he's just not there?
It's a little
It
contrived,
doesn't hold
but
up
at
to
the same
scrutiny.
point, look, we there's so much going on at this episode. We
It's
don't
true.
have time to think out. If we start going down this path, it's going to be a 45-minute episode.
Yeah.
You're going to bleed over into the real O'Neills.
Oh, is that what
And
was on after this?
no, I think it's actually what replaced the Muppets after the
Oh.
show went off, and then when ABC decided to retool its lineup, the Muppets got canceled and the Real O'Neills got renewed for
Okay.
one season before they themselves were canceled.
Yeah. I'm sure the Real O'Neills was less complicated and possibly less expensive to make anyway. So, yeah, it's funny. I don't remember what was on ABC in the time slot after this. What was
I
I
don't.
what was
I'm
I
like
turning
trying to.
off my TV during all that time?
All I know is like the Muppets were on at 8, and then Agent Carter was on at 10.
At 10. Okay. So there were a few shows between.
Yeah, ABC. I think Tuesdays and used to be Tuesdays. Now I think it's just Wednesday. That they do 4 sitcoms and then an hour long show.
Okay. Agent Carter, there's another one that was canceled way too soon.
Yep.
Although it got at least a second season, which is more than they gave this one. So
Same with Gallivant, which was another good one.
yeah,
Also got the axe. That was just a day of like all my favorite shows getting canceled.
But yeah,
one after the
guys.
and the Muppets were the last one. It's like, okay, you can take Gallivant, you can take Agent Carter, but leave me my Muppets.
I'm sure Joe and I will talk about this in a future episode, but they really made us wait a long time to know for sure that this show had gotten canceled.
Yeah.
That was cruel of them.
That was a heartbreaker.
Everyone approaches Yolanda's desk. She thinks that she's busted and that they're all mad at her, but they all just give her their presents because they realize that she was left out last year and they feel bad, so they want her to have all these presents.
Yeah, it's nice. Muppets are nice.
It's especially nice for Yolanda because she had to wait a year, but she got, like 10
all
times as many presents, or however many people.
Meanwhile, no one else gets any presents in this.
It's true, that's the thing. Yeah,
the idea behind Secret Santa is you give and you get.
Right.
But instead, one person got and everyone else gave.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's a nice way to end that storyline. Yeah. Everyone just feels bad that they left out Yolanda, so they're fine with letting her scam continue.
It is funny, yeah, that it's all because of her own machinations that this happened. But yeah, it's Christmas. It's a time for being nice.
Look, if Clark Griswold's boss can forgive, Cousin Eddie for kidnapping him, anything is passable on Christmas.
There you go. So another thing that's happening at Christmas is Sam, who still has a crush on Janice, is hoping to catch Janice under the mistletoe, which he is hanging up in a doorway in the office. This is the most minor of the storylines, so we maybe don't need to spend a lot of time on it. But he's hoping that this will be a seasonally appropriate way to jumpstart his relationship with Janice.
Yeah, I kind of dig it, but at the same time, it's like of all the characters to bring together, this is the one side of a character I did not expect was Sam's attraction to Janice.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the previous episode. I think it was the episode where Joe was talking to our friend Elena about how weird this is, but how it also how it's a fun idea because you have Sam, this totally straight-laced, uptight guy. So for him to be attracted to Janice, this spaced-out
but
hippie
at the
chick,
same time, it does kind of hook onto this one little thing where if Sam is such this, staid and proper guy who, really thinks everything the Muppets does is weird, why does he keep hanging around them?
Well, yeah, that's a question. Although on the series, at least,
so maybe there's this little bit that just says, okay, they're weird, but I like it.
Yeah, he's still sort of fascinated by them. But on the series, at least, he is apparently the standards and practices supervisor, or I guess that's his job. But you kind of wonder, like, doesn't he have other shows to be checking in on occasionally? He always seems to be hanging around up late. But again, I guess we shouldn't question it too much. But this is also weird because we have seen that Janice is apparently still with Floyd. There was the weird argument where the Electric Mayhem was all fighting with Kristen Chenoweth, where like Janice used to be with Dr. Teeth, and she doesn't want to consider herself anybody's lady, but it's still like we've seen them on the show where they like Janice and Floyd still seem to be close, at least. So I don't know if I still question, does Sam think that he's going to break them up, or does he think that Janice is enough of a free spirit that she doesn't care?
I don't think Sam really notices.
Oh, that's an idea. Yeah.
Like, you think he really cares about the romantic relationships of the band?
Yeah, like maybe Sam
the drummer chases women. What else do you need to know?
Well, not anymore, but yeah, maybe Sam
okay,
has
maybe
not
he just shouts woman and then.
Right, maybe Sam has not even... Yeah, it's completely escaped his notice that Floyd and Janice walk around with their arms around each other or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I like that. But even... This is, like, I'm sure this has been on many sitcoms where somebody's trying to hang mistletoe to kiss the girl they like or whatever, but
yeah,
mistletoe in general is kind of a creepy tradition.
Yeah, I think by 2015 it was already on the way out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess if you're having a holiday party with people that you really know well and everyone's kind of in on the joke or in on the tradition, then okay, sure, fine, kiss everybody. But to hang up mistletoe at work and just to be like, oh, hey, caught you under the mistletoe, now I get to kiss you, that's kind of not great.
Yeah, that's a harassment case waiting to happen.
Right, and Sam should know that. Sam should be aware of that.
The standards and practices guy suddenly goes very much against standards and practices.
Yeah. So while Sam is waiting for Janice to come along, Chip passes under the mistletoe. Chip, one of the handful of breakout character sensations from this show, he offers Sam a Pringle, which he points out is shaped like the human tongue. And then
also like one of the last surviving characters from the Jim Henson Hour.
That's true, although he did not have much of a personality there, and he's
never really had much of a personality until this show.
Right, it's very different on this show, but he's funny on this.
Yeah.
And he has this. He's licking the sour cream and onion flavoring off the Pringle. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So he can get all of the taste with none of the calories.
Yeah. Okay. So Sam's trying to get rid of him, but he keeps rambling, and that's when Janice walks right through the doorway. So Sam misses his chance. But then at the end of the episode, the whole gang is at Ralph's Tavern when Janice comes up to Sam to say that she noticed him talking to Chip at the office. She knows that Chip has trouble making friends, and she thinks it's really sweet of Sam to talk to him. And then she kisses him on the cheek, which is totally her decision. That's kind of nice, I guess. Being sneaky with the mistletoe, Sam probably shouldn't have done that in the first place, but... But
yay, unexpected kindness.
Yes. So... just be a good person, Sam. That's all you got to do. So, but
be the decent person you expect everyone else to be.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, and I didn't note this in my notes, but we just kind of talked about the Yolanda thing where she got rewarded in that storyline. Yolanda got rewarded not for doing the right thing, but for doing the wrong thing, but then she got rewarded anyway because they wanted to be nice. This is kind of similar, where Sam is getting rewarded not for doing the right thing, but for accidentally doing a right thing. So yeah, it's funny.
Wow, this just got real dark. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah, I'm trying to think if it falls into the Fozzie thing. Maybe not so much, but so there's one other storyline, which is the guest star for this episode of Up Late, Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling? You mean that person who presented the word enthusiastic on season 45 of Sesame Street?
That is the same Mindy Kaling. She did one of the Word of the Day segments on Sesame Street, one of a couple of times that she's worked with Muppets. Also, you were noting a minute ago that she appeared with Gonzo at the Auto Club 400.
Yes, a NASCAR race.
Are you a fan of NASCAR?
No.
You're just a fan of Gonzo and looking things
Yes,
up on Muppet Wiki.
absolutely.
Right.
Also, it was March. The Auto Club 400 was Gonzo's appearance was March 23rd, 2014. You know, right when he had a movie to promote.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, every time someone says like Disney doesn't care about the Muppets, they never do anything with the Muppets. I want to agree with that, but then I think back to how inescapable the promotional stuff for Muppets Most Wanted was, and it's like how much money did they spend on that? They were everywhere. They sponsored the Super Bowl pre-show that year, so
Yep.
you can't say Disney didn't throw a lot of money at the Muppets that year. At least.
Well, you know, people say Disney doesn't do anything with the Muppets that I like.
That's probably what they mean when they say Disney doesn't do anything with the Muppets. Yes, you're right. Yeah, and then she also, Mindy Kaling, more recently recorded a Sesame Street memory video for the 50th anniversary of Sesame Street with Oscar. So those couple of those were after this, but here she is on The Muppets. And she is on Up Late to sing a song. She's going to sing...
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes. A song which the Muppets have sung in a couple of different productions.
That was also on the Green and Red Christmas album, right?
Yeah, sung by Gonzo and Rizzo there, if I remember
that's
correctly.
A great arrangement.
Yeah, that album is kind of odd, just sort of the timing of it, and that it was released at a time where they hadn't solidified all of the recasts, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I like it. It has...
This was like 2006, right?
Yeah, I think 6 or 7, but yeah, it's right around there. But yeah, probably 2006.
But Disney doesn't do anything with the Muppets.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. It ends with Kermit singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," which I like a lot.
Oh, just a great Christmas album for the sake of a great Christmas album, not to tie into anything, just for the fun of it. And it's a really good album.
It is nice. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I guess we should have mentioned there are so many Muppet Christmas things.
Yeah. The Muppets doing something at Christmas?
Right. When this episode was first announced, I think that was kind of how we reacted. It was like, oh, great, the Muppets have never covered Christmas before. But yeah, here they're doing it again.
Coming soon, moving right along, the Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's true. That will be our next full season of the show. So we still got a ways to go with Muppets Take Manhattan before we get there. But... yes, everyone. I hope everyone who's listening to this is also listening to Moving Right Along, as we're currently covering the Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time, and in a year or so we will be covering Muppet Christmas Carol 2 minutes at a time. But right now we're talking about Single All the Way, and Mindy Kaling singing "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year" with Miss Piggy, but Kermit discovers that Mindy Kaling is a terrible singer.
Oh no!
Yeah.
How will he fix this?
He says to Scooter, like, basically, like, I thought you said she could sing. And Scooter says, well, I said she could sing, not that she could sing well. Like, I can beatbox, but I'm not amazing at it. And then he does a little bit of beatboxing.
Yeah.
And he says, whoa, that was my best one ever. Which that made me laugh out loud.
Yes, that's a great moment from Scooter.
That might be my favorite joke in this episode, actually, just because it's unexpected and David Redmond's delivery is hilarious.
Yeah, I think my favorite joke also from this storyline is Janice talking about the evil demons trapped in her voice.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying, like, keep fighting it, we're all behind you.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess this show really leaned into Janice's, like, spacey new aginess, but It's all
Yes.
right. It certainly works better than Floyd being a conspiracy theorist. But yeah, so Mindy Kaling though
Or,
doesn't.
Zoot drawing inappropriate things and then having to make them into saxophones later.
Yeah, I'm okay with innuendo. I think that's like right on the side of being funny rather than vulgar. But anyway, Mindy Kaling doesn't realize that she's a bad singer. She thinks it's the band who's bad. It's funny.
Yep.
It occurred to me when they wrote this episode or came up with this idea, they had to book, like the producers of this actual show, the Muppets, had to book a guest star who would be cool with doing the storyline where they're a terrible, untalented singer.
Yeah.
So it probably had to be a comedy person.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Kaling has a good sense of humor about herself.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really good at this. So they're trying to think, like, what can they do? Can they replace this number with something different? Scooter pitches an idea to Kermit, which is Big Mean Carl reciting "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Oh, actually, you know what? I think I have to take that back about my favorite joke, because this is tied then for my favorite joke,
Yeah.
which is
It's
Big
a
Mean
great
Carl.
bit.
Yeah, Big Mean Carl saying, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, 'cause I told them to shut up." I love Big Mean Carl.
Kids love me.
Yes. And then he blows out the candle. He's holding, like, he's dressed in his pajamas and holding an old fashioned candlestick thing, and he blows out the candle. So nice puppet trick there.
Yep.
And then, as an alternative, another possible alternative to the song, Gonzo, and Pepe and Rizzo, the writers, are pitching Mindy Kaling doing a sketch called "The Bachelor Elves."
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
quite...
it's a spoof of The Bachelor, but with elves. Or I guess
I
a
think
spoof of The
The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
Absolutely not.
No, neither have I. I wonder if we would find this funnier if we had ever watched those shows.
Possibly, but yeah, it's such a popular show in the zeitgeist that, like, I feel like I can get the joke, like, yes, there's all these different personality types.
Yeah.
Because that's what reality TV is, at least in that format.
Right. So the basic idea is that, like, Pepe would pop up as all these different elves who want to go on a date with Mindy Kaling.
Unemployed waiter elf.
Yeah.
Buff gym rat elf.
Right.
Rizzo is a sailor who's also a single dad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, no, it's not doing it for me. It occurs to me, like, this, if this were the Muppet Show, and we have been saying that this is not the Muppet Show, you can't, like, they're doing something a little bit different, and that's good. They should be doing something different. But if this were the Muppet Show or Muppets Tonight or whatever, they would have actual Muppet elves pop up to do this little sketch.
Yes, you're absolutely
Why don't they
right.
just do that? Why don't we have a bunch of little Muppet elves come running in and act annoying?
I suppose it's to sort of keep the world of the late night show, because if this were a situation on a real late night show, who would you turn to? The writers.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course, but it's still the Muppets. So this is the thing I keep going back to during this rewatch, is the show is funny, but it's not weird enough. It needs to be quirkier and stranger. Yeah. But unfortunately, Mindy Kaling thinks that they're giving her a choice between doing the sketch or her song, and she chooses the song. And
because her fans definitely want to hear her sing.
Right. In her mind.
Like, if my fans have a choice to see me do a silly sketch or a song, they're going to want me to do the song.
Yeah, it's funny. Mindy Kaling is playing this version of herself who has a very inflated ego and thinks of herself as being super famous and also a great singer. So there's a gag at the end of the scene where Pepe pops up wearing this muscle suit. I forget which elf
That's
type.
the buff gym rat
The gym
type
rat.
of guy.
Yeah. He's wearing this suit that makes it look like he has a lot of muscles. Rizzo says, "For the first time in your life, you don't look like a shrimp."
Oh.
And he's laughing, and Pepe punches him, and Rizzo falls over.
Yep.
That made me laugh.
Violence.
Yeah, and it feels a little bit, for some reason, like something that they would have done on Muppets Tonight specifically. Like I feel like
especially if you're wearing a muscle suit.
Yeah, I feel like there were a lot of sort of little moments of slapstick like that on Muppets Tonight.
Yeah.
So by the time the Christmas show actually happens, Kermit has figured out a solution to the Mindy Kaling problem, which is that as soon as the song starts, he has all the Muppets run up and join Mindy Kaling on stage to sing the song.
And that's such a very Muppety way of resolving
Yes.
things.
Yes, this is a great idea. It's great for the story in that it takes care of the problem.
Mm.
And also, yes, this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see a big crowd of Muppets all gather around the guest star and sing.
It's Muppets at Christmas. I mean, this is sort of their MO.
Yeah.
Everyone gathered around with their special guest. And John Denver sings Bum Bum.
Right, yes. This is what... I should have counted how many Muppets are in this scene because it's kind of a lot. They must have brought in some additional puppeteers for this.
I would hope so. This feels like a big all-in moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just great to see. And then Kermit is sort of standing off to the side and Scooter waves him on. So Kermit runs onto the stage and sings with everyone else. And that's what we want to see, It's the Muppets are having a good time putting on a show.
Yeah.
I also like that the Swedish chef is wearing a wreath of candles on his head. Which is that's a Swedish Christmas tradition.
That sounds about right.
I meant to look that up too. Yes, we just took a short break to Google the Swedish Christmas tradition of candles in the hair, and Matthew has discovered that this is something they do to honor Saint Lucia
or Saint Lucy.
Saint Lucy. And
in Sweden she's called Lucia.
Okay, it's always a girl who has the candles in her hair.
I believe so.
It's always a girl.
I could be wrong. Oh, this is in the Nordic countries. It's not just Sweden. It's also Denmark, Norway, and Finland.
Okay. Well, that's a very nice tradition, and it's nice to see the chef, observing the tradition of his homeland. And I think those candles are really lit. I don't know if you looked as, closer than I did, but
that wouldn't surprise me.
Which is maybe a fire hazard, but good for them for going for it. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So now that we've gone through it and you've revisited this episode 5 years later, do you think any differently of it? Do you think the same of it?
I will say I love the main storyline. I love how it pulls apart these characters and we get to see a little more of them than we normally do. We get to see different facets of their personality because these are really rounded characters.
The Kermit and Piggy stuff and Fozzie?
Kermit, yeah, mostly. Yeah. But I will say the one thing I hadn't noticed before, maybe not until we had this conversation, was how Sam and Yolanda are both rewarded for suspect behavior at best.
Yes. I had not noticed that parallel until we started talking about it, but that's funny.
But it's Christmas. Kindness is in the air. I think Kermit once sang something like that.
Yeah. And I remember liking this a lot when it first aired, and watching it again, it really does sort of makes me really look forward to watching the rest of the series, just knowing that it's going to continue on this arc of being a little bit happier, a little bit more heartwarming.
Well, just be careful. It's not a very long arc.
I know. We got 6 episodes left after this, so, but still.
And then nothing more.
And then nothing. Yeah. And then Muppets Now, 5 years later. But Maybe 5 years from now we'll revisit.
We'll be talking
Muppets
about
now, 5
Muppets.
years.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that pretty much covers it. Do you have any final thoughts about Single All the Way?
I mean, I can't think of anything. I feel like, the maturity of it all, the fact that we really get to, we see these characters grow and we see them change, and that's what I love about this. I believe firmly that the Muppets should never be tied to one interpretation. That these are such multi-dimensional characters that we can play around with it, and we still don't lose what we have.
Yeah, I agree that this, even if this show had gone on for more seasons and they had continued doing these very personal sort of stories with the characters, they could still go on to do, another project where it was just silly sketches on the internet or something. Yeah. And it's still the Muppets.
Nothing's changed, and yet everything has changed.
Yeah. But I just don't think they should ever be afraid to try different things.
Yes, exactly.
People who have followed all of our Tough Pig stuff are probably very sick of hearing me say that, because I say that a lot. But
I'm sure I've said my fair piece.
Yeah, let the Muppets do different kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
Take a shot every time I say that. No, don't actually. So, then listeners, we will wrap things up for this week. Please check us out in all the places where you can check us out. I am on Twitter at Ryan Roe. Matthew, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Matthew Soberman. I don't post there very much. Basically, you can try looking for me on the internet, but you're not going to find a whole lot.
Well, you can find stuff that Matthew wrote on toughpigs.com.
That is very true.
And so the next time after this episode that we saw the Muppets on this television program was in February of 2016. We're not going to make you wait that long between episodes of this podcast for now. We will probably be taking a little bit of a break at some point in this podcast season, but Joe will be back next week with the next episode, which is called Swine Song. So join Joe here for that next week. And thank you for listening, and good night.
Good night, everybody, and Merry Christmas.